I just want to share a story. On the way here, I was taking an Uber, and I was fortunate enough to have a very cool conversation with the Uber driver. And I just want to share this. Maybe share this discussion. Maybe we can move on. We can talk more about this later on. And of course, some of you here in the city of Cambridge are philosophy major, so maybe what I'm saying right now could sound amateurish to you. And leave if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment below and continue this discussion. So I step into the Uber car, and then the Uber driver asked me what I do for a living, and I told him I'm a hypnotherapist. And he asked me this very profound question that what makes the brain think, right? Now that is a deep question. I'm not sure he know how deep the question was. So it works at many levels, right? What makes the brain think? Now take a minute and think about that now. So when somebody asks this question, or if somebody ever asks this question to you, by asking this question, you're acknowledging that there are two entities in your body and mind, right? One is your brain, and one is the entity that makes your brain think. A computer can do a lot of things. I don't know if you can call it thinking or not. There are many computer engineers in this town, and you can correct me or you can join in the discussion. But what makes a computer, at least, by our standard, think? A computer doesn't think by itself, right? Somebody has to program it, and even if you're not a programmer, if you're like a gamer or something, if you're just using the application, nothing wrong with that. They still need somebody's finger to type in the keyboard to initiate the thoughts, right? So it's the brain, right? So it's just moving on to the discussion. Now to preview the answer, not to give you a spoiler or spoiler alert. There's no answer to this. We're just digging in and using our curiosity and good dinner conversation. Now, are you your brain? Right. Or are you and your brain separate entity? Now, of course, this has been asked by Descartes, and we can go into that, but are you thinking of the brain, or is the brain doing the thinking for you? You see the difference there? Like, in order to ask if the brain, what makes the brain think, you're already acknowledging that there's something that causes the brain to think, that the brain doesn't think by itself. Now let's do a thought experiment, right? A brain can think of many things, right? Right now you're watching this television. There are a lot of thoughts in your head. But there are also a lot of thoughts or a lot of brain functions that are laying dormant and inert in your brain right now, right? Your brain can do math, and I guess like for most of our brains in Cambridge can do pretty advanced math like differential calculus and things like that. But unless you go make your brain do these calculations, it is just inert, right? So there must be another part that could be in your body or an entity on its own that makes your brain go do these calculations. Or think of like a happy place, or imagine yourself on the best vacation on a cruise ship or whatnot. Now, before I mention that and ask you to use your mind and imagination to think about your vacation, even though you're perfectly capable of thinking of your perfect vacation, that ability is dormant and inert in your brain. There is a part of you that go make your brain think about your perfect vacation, right? And the gentleman that's driving me asked some very profound question as well, right? He said, well, we asked him, does thinking only applies to human, right? Does this question only applies to human? And we're talking about, if a computer, let's say a computer has been running since the beginning of time and nobody knows what pushes the first button. Nobody knows who turned on this computer, but it has been on forever. And this computer has been doing a lot of great things, it can tell the weather and give us answer to medicine and whatnot in a giant database. And great. But does this computer think? Even nobody made it give any instructions as of today. Maybe it was pre-programmed a billion years ago. But does that computer think? Does this computer aware that it is thinking, right? So the gentleman on the cab driver keep asking the questions. And I appreciate him for doing that. And then he asked, what about self-improvement? Like, he has $10 in his pocket right now, and he needs to go make $20. Right? Of course, we go back to the same question that you have to instruct your brain to go think about, make that $20. And we can use operant conditioning to explain a lot of things. But operant conditioning also does not explain the thought itself. So I guess, like, moving on from there, we can program animals to do a lot of things by using reward and punishment, or quote-unquote operant conditioning, right? If it does what we want, we give them a reward. If it doesn't do what we want, we either take away the reward or punish them. And this is the same way society had us programmed, right? But this is that thinking. Now, we talk about, other than human thoughts, we were talking about dogs, right? Now, I gave the example of a shepherd dog could independently map out the terrain, count how many sheep, or more, I don't know if that's true, but like more or less count how many sheep there is, or if there was a sheep that needs to be accounted, a border collie, a shepherd dog could go find it without instructions. Now, you can't get a Chihuahua to do that. You can condition, and it's not like a Chihuahua is smarter than a border collie. But you can reward and punish a Chihuahua all day long, and it would not have the awareness to do what a border collie could do. So even though it is the same species, we can say that there were thoughts in a border collie that enables it to independently plan and execute shepherding, a large stock of animals to where it's supposed to go, right? Of course, conditioning could help, but it is not, from what I've been told, it's like they could just do that, plan that on its own, right? And what causes the border collie to do all that, right? Now we talk about, what about, he asked the questions, what about an ant who has good work ethics? But does an ant think, right? I don't know, I'm not an ant. Maybe it does. Maybe in an ant's mind, it is reciting Shakespeare or something. Or, ant poetry or whatever. I don't know. I can't see it. But we can say that that is hardwired into the ant to perform its function. And if it is a hardwired action, genetically hardwired action, is that a thought, right? Is the ant thinking? It may be thinking, but like to perform its function, does it require thoughts to do that? Like my freshman professor, Dr. Ferner, gave this example. There are a lot of animals that can perform complex instinctual functions, like a migrating bird instinctively would know how to fly in a formation for thousands and thousands of miles, and it instinctively know where to go as the season change. Like birds doesn't have GPS. Like they didn't watch National Geographic and saw that, oh yeah, this is where the food is, or this is the warmer weather, or this is the air current. It is able to compute all that without any instructions. Now, a migrating bird could have a lot of thoughts, right? I don't know. I'm not a bird. I'm never, I can't read a bird's mind. Maybe in its way flying north and south, it is thinking the same thoughts that I'm thinking right now. Maybe one of the birds is thinking that it is on beehive and talking to other birds. I don't know. Maybe in a bird's mind, it has the wisdom of the universe in it. That is possible, but I can't see it. I don't know. But it's safe to say that a bird could perform all that without thinking. Now, that is not like I've made the distinction, but that is not to say that while it is doing it, it does not require, it is not at the same time thinking of funny things or cool things or whatnot, or I don't know. It's like human picking itself up and walking, It is so much easier to walk on all fours when you are a toddler, but it is something instinctual. And you don't have to be taught how to walk. You just know, right? Even though it takes engineers. It is not until recently that engineers figured how to program a robot to walk. And for the long time, it is the longest mathematical mystery. But it turns out that it really, in the hypothesis is that you don't actually, your body doesn't actually program to move your body to walk. It is every time you walk, you create an imbalance, and then your body learns to adjust that balance. But that is a different topic, right? But you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can walk and have a conscious mind at the same time. And then, and then the Uber is getting closer and closer to CCTV. And then he asked another question, he's a smoker. And at some point in his mind, he wanted to quit smoking, but he can't. What caused that, right? So I guess that is a good question. And that makes me also think, right? A brain by itself is an inert object. It's kind of like a set of dominoes. A set of dominoes is just there. and it is inert. Now, the forces of gravity, you can say, the ultimate reason why these dominoes fall is because of gravity. But it's not because of gravity that the dominoes started to fall. Now, barring from wind or whatnot, the only reason why the set of dominoes failed is because you or another conscious mind pushed the first domino, and then the whole set falls, right? Now, for some reason, he told me he understood what I was saying, and I asked him to think that in order for him to have this current thought, he must have a last thought, right? And for his cigarette smoking, we can say that it traces back to like a chemical dependence or a pleasure principle kind of dependence. But ask yourself,